Good morning, Miss Bianca Petene.
Good morning, Yomi.
Me am a Maslow, Dr. One time you stop here long. Oglebeng Seminary, you are one lecturer here.
Yeah.
Na, was a man you come up lecturer long Oglebeng Seminary.
Yeah, okay. Me, thinking lo come lo here. Me missionary. Me been teacher before. So me lusim na me go long Bible school. Na me go work missionary lo Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, and Australia. Na me come back lo Papua New Guinea. Na me visiting Papa Mama blo me. Na bien me making work ready lo go back. Na passport na something come out alright. So me wait stop na. Me kisi one blessing out ikam lo Oglebeng Seminary or sem oli sort lo teacher.
You talk lo one Bible school you go long in.
Me go one Bible school I'll call him CLTC, Christian Leadership Training College. Na lo this Bible school all train him all church leaders. Na only offer him all courses lo diploma, bachelors, na masters. Na me go inside me kiss him bachelors. Me study lo bachelors one time emphasis lo work mission. Na me graduate na lo 2006. 2007 me go work long Indonesia. Na me come back na go sem long Malaysia. Na bien lo 2011 me come back na me go down lo Australia. Na me make him work. Time me stop lo Malaysia me work one time. All sampla line is we work na mel long all online usai ti saweron long sampla kain pasin we good pla. Na me play especially na mel lo Mary. Singaw ti kam lo Malaysia lo one pla evangelism, global evangelism training school of Malaysia. Na Malaysia am big pla strictest Islamic nation lo world. Tasol igat all Christians too stop. Na igat one pla organization and work lo recruit him na train him all missionaries. Lo salim all go lo different hub inside long this place ground. All sem na singaw ti kam na missionary organization me stop long and only maki me long me can go attending this training na me go na me making part-time training na me making part-time work na me work and me making work na me long all online usay ti stop inside lo business long human trafficking planti all yang pla Mary lo Thailand oli kisimol kam inside lo Malaysia na salimol go sem long India na Singapore. So work me making one time online and one pla team long America or missionary team all stop all call him all at Redeeming Roses. Na me play making work long kisimol yang pla Mary come out lo kalabus all stop inside long and lo one mol manu say ti kisimol na salim golo narapla pa sem all working money long body long all display yang pla Mary am all picks up lo God yet. So me play make him work long, rescue him all or display kind life all stop long and tasol emi no easy. Emi no easy tasol God am helping me plan lo rescue him planti. Na me work lo happy stop tasol because me come lo one pla third world country. All get a time bien lo 1 month me must go lo Singapore na me must renew him visa blow me na come back lo Malaysia na stop. So display am make him na me ego come na plenty time na immigration's office only got ask him lo this la walk about blow me. Now to you can make him one him you business Mary or you sumatin or you want him something. Na me talk me sumatin. Because me part-time training na me part-time work. So me talk him all say me sumatin. Na only believe in me. Na me talk him all say me stop lo Indonesia na me stop osem sumatin. Hap emosem mito giaman. Lo wanem this pla work mission me pla make him got birwa tu stop because me pla work inside lo country lo tu Islam big pla true. Na lo tu Islam sabe birwa lo believe lo yumi Christian. So me talk him all sem me sumatin na me talk me work lo Indonesia stop. Tasoli got political problem. Na me come here lo Malaysia because he got some of friends stop so meeting me can stop on them all na line him talk place Malay na line him culture belong all na school. So me give him this reason time only questioning me na me stop na bien all decide osem all na renew him visa belong me. So lo me lo stop lo Malaysia na work one time displa group Redeeming Roses namel long all young pla Mary uset only stop lo displa life nongu tem hard, so mi masih go long Sumatra Island. Na mi go lo Sumatra Island mantem help him lo one pla pastor. Na mi go na stop long one pla school again, one pla primary school kind of sem. Na because mi teacher mi go up to all asking me lo teach him English lo displa school. Na mi teach him English mi stop tripla moon lo displa hap. Taso bien lo tripla moon and mi mas renew him visa blo mi again. Na time mi go lo renew him visa blo mi and all talk. You overstayed your visa. We are not going to renew your visa. Mi pla by deporting you all talk osem. Na mi talk you plan on up deporting me because time mi been go first time lo renew him visa blo mi all talk no gat. All get a paper and me alright. So mi go back na mi stop na bien lo 3 months mi come back all talk no. You abrusim mak blong time blo you lo stop lo here. So by mi pla kalabusim you na mi talk you plan on up kalabusim me and mi no aswa blo mi. Now talk mi pla by deporting you go to Australia na mi talk you plan on up deporting me. Now talk you like him one na mi talk no mi like you go back la house blo mi lo Malaysia em tas all. Now last me lo pay him so much money. Na mi no got money lo stop back na pay him this pla kind something tas so go up him do na one pla Chinese businessman. Emi kam tasol na looking pasta mi tu play kam ne maskim osem wanem lo you na you stop osem le airport le immigration office nam to no gat one pla sumatin lo one pla school lo Malaysia kam na stop on temin am la go back na get some lily hold up lo here. So Emi help him na pay him this pla fee all Indonesians he ask him I think equivalent lo PNG kina by 2000 kina but several millions of rupiah lo Indonesia. Na mi come out long Sumatra na mi come back lo Malaysia tasol mi non api stop mi looking mo se mi non api stop mo so mi had na mi come back long Papua New Guinea lo 2011 mi come back lo 2011 na I got narapla singatu I come up lo Australia na melong all indigenous man meri bla Australia so mi go na work la Australia na tu mista posen trainer blo narapla missionaries lo Papua New Guinea usai distablo displa same organization where mi staplo ngena mol calling PNG World Mission na mi training all missionaries na miximol golo cross cultural living na sampla kind exposure lo help him all training all lo make him work mission in all overseas tas all Papua New Guinea too na mi pla around lo sampla outback area lo Papua New Guinea. Na mi pla go inside walk him outreach na inside lo group lo missionaries mi pla stop I got some play all got present lo make him walk evangelist so all walk him open air evangelism na mi pla reach out lo people lo mi play lo Papua New Guinea too na bien mi pla go lo Australia na mi pla walk him one kind na me long all indigenous man meri lo Australia na mi pla looking mo se response lo indigenous man meri lo Australia ta mi pla reach out long all nice platro so mi pla focus na long walk one time all I stop na plenty time mi go come osem lo training all missionary na tu lo walk one time all some black churches all engage mi pla lo Australia all Pacific Islanders all been come up in this black church time all white man ikisim all Pacific Islanders all osem still him all na karimol go Australia na make him all walk lo sugar farm na disla kind all call him blackbirding na inside lo display mi pla look him evidence blo all get up all Pacific Islanders he make him lo build him wall lo walk him kind something na all display line go all building one black church lo Australia too na display church start long and one pla missionary blo Solomon Island who say he been graduate long Christian leadership training CLTC and pastor in display church so mi pla all missionaries blo Papua New Guinea go and mi pla all engage mi pla lo display church na mi pla stop na mi pla walk in ministry na me long all indigenous man meri lo Australia tasol too mi pla walk long minister long all individual families inside lo Australia na mi pla go long open air evangelism lo market inside lo community lo Australia too na mi make him this black and work stop na bien mi come holiday lo Papua New Guinea 2012
you talk long this agency or this organization
missionary organization
yes
PNG World Mission.
PNG World Mission. This is why I've been sing out in you, this is all get a happy been Dr. Longen.
Yes.
All right.
Because me go as a missionary and me go pass on them this organization. Now only Sally me go away get sing out come.
Now only in uplo sabe lo fit lo this like kind work or man.
You talk about this organization?
Yeah.
Yes. Me looking most me fit because I'm an indigenous missionary organization. Na plenty time was ting like you me all people of Papua New Guinea you meeting was missionary display name missionary na work mission you meeting was walk blood white skin that's all look na believe lo me now me go in all same work mission all come up missionary walk blood all get a man marry regardless lo one nationality usati believe lo Jesus Christ you me got walk long karim display good news but Jesus Christ go all get a man marry lo display place ground. So display one play indigenous missionary organization where me been work one time. Na display church work one time all local churches lo me play it inside lo Papua New Guinea lo kisim support lo supporting me pla. That's all time me la come up missionary me go back lo church lo me na me educating all people lo me because display thinking lo work as a missionary nupla long all. Because all things also all white missionary. That's all kind of me. All things up. That's what me my schooling more was impossible. So me work in plant the awareness lo area where me come along in lo Chiwaka, Bans Chiwaka province. Na me work in plant the awareness inside lo church lo me inside lo all high schools, inside lo primary schools, inside lo Boom lo Mary, inside lo church. Na me working awareness na oli kisim sample clear pla ting. Na bien lo display all looking irrelevant or some me pla all get out say believe lo Jesus Christ me pla must make him display work. O say now na time me la go long Indonesia lo first time oli sana backside lo mina oli commissioning mina oli fund him display walk about lo me lo go work mission inside lo Indonesia. Tasolem lo level blow congregation blow me now people inside the community so Lutheran church Christians only supporting me no God all man Mary believe man Mary blow Narapla church to Nazarene Baptist inside the community where me play stop only come boom all man one thing all sally me for the first time logo Indonesia
long we making talk the man play ecumenical effort
yes.
Now you've been story too before long you thinking long outside plus Singapore na this hub area all get a Christian tas all
no that Christian plenty all narapla lotu plenty kaino sem long Christian lo Singapore all Christian is stop. Tas oligat all Muslims all stop. Muslim all man meri usai ti bianim lotu Islam. You can clear lo display Islam name lo lotu. Tas all man meri usai ti bianim lotu Islam all call him all Muslim. So all Muslim stop. Igat all Hindus stop. Igat all kind can lotu stop. Tas all lili group all Christian to stop. One kind lo Malaysia. Na lo Indonesia too.
Now you've been luxave lo display something past time you nubla yet sorry legally lo display
yeah past time meeting was me blo Papua New Guinea na meeting was lo tu Christiana you misawaya tasol na mi no sawa se mi gatol man meri ibienim narapla believe mi no gat one plus save lo display tasol lo 1996 mi go tourist lo Singapore na mi sleep inside lo one bla hotel na mi come out na mi kai stop na one bla lili yang bla boy I think Christmas blame 12 13 I'm looking me sit down one time all narapla I'm looking skin color blame play narapla too so mi come na whisper na asking me bla lo English talk are you Christians na I blow me up this la ask him make him I blow me up na meeting why na you ask him this bla kai and ask him na mi bla talk yes na talk can you please tell me about Jesus of Nazareth? Na display make him bell blow me suit strong. Na meeting him one mas true. Na come na make him display talk. So bien mi pain him out one bla Muslim boy. So attending one bla public school of Singapore na all best friends blem lo displa school em all Christian. Na emi poroman wantem all na round na bien all narpla friend blongen i look save osem emi round wantem all Christian na oli go talk save lo papa mama blem na oli rausimem lo house blo em. So emi no got blessed logo em all Muslim isabe me gosem because I'm underaged all like entertaining em lo. So was emi one adult em lo blo Muslim lo to Islam osem em mas die. That's all. I'm underaged, so I'm come back na talking this black Christian friend, long I'm na Christian friend, blend he go talking papa mama na. Only talking alright, kissing me come na, but I'm stop boy blood this house. So I'm stop on them all this blood time. Holiday na I'm making sample holiday walk inside lo restaurant, lo cleaning table, rousing all plate cup or something all money sleep hotel kai go lo kitchen. Na me play bungi mem lo this blood time na I'm asking this blood question. So me play mi story ta solo narapla friends blo mi lo Papua New Guinea mi plago all story long em lo believe blongo lo God na Jesus na Holy Spirit all story na display boy arem na mi kai mi no busy lo display boy tu mi no tinki lo story lo meeting mi pla save lo Jesus long time na you o monem na you no save follow mi play pinis lo kai na lusim display table na go o mi join him online na mi play make some lilik topok na mi play arranging one pla time lo mi play can meet one time na story mo lo Jesus. Tas all this time mi play planning mi play Bruce because hotel got shift belong so emi no show up lo time mi play makina mi play go se tourist mi play a program blah blah lo travel out lo different locations lo display day so mi no meeting mi play no meeting na story lo Jesus tas so time mi come back lo Papua New Guinea mixing big play bell cut through mi et mi feeling was mi fail lo witness lo display boy lo Jesus Christ na me pray 6 player me to God me fail me no witness lo display boy na me come away na me like sawe lo like blow you lo life blow me you saw with me na one pla time me pray stop na me looking one pla picture or some vision me looking Bible blow me na emi stop na me looking one pla A4 paper na get one pla honey all in display paper lo front blow me na me looking Romans chapter 10 na line 13 enta sol me looking na pepa ya all come close to the face blow me na mi pasim ay na mi pray stop ta so mi looking mosem try blow me op na mi kirap nungud na mi move back na pray blow me stop lo display hap na mi open may na mi no looking one paper ta sol Bible blow me stop so mi open Bible blow me na mi looking Romans 10:13 na I'm talk how beautiful are the feet of those who bring the good news. Na mi to oh God, mi pray lo 6 player em display emas. En sablongan na mi se lo bel blo mi osem. Mi to thank you Lord God. Mi to thank you Lord God na tu mi wogin big pla cry because mi pray lo one pla boy where mi no been witness long time em been asking me long. Jesus plo Nazareth na all narpla line. All narpla line only been witness lam na mi et feeling mas mi been fail him display something mi na plo make him mi no make him so time display talk kam lo Romans 10:13 mi go 15 mi kiss him display talk mi make him emo I come up a talk plo mi na lo display same year God I kill him in die life plo money lo life plo mi go lo headmaster na mi talk me enough lo work teacher now na me give him resignation paper blo me lam excuse me man talk no you know Olsen you make some promotion you're still very young na you don't have lo lose him display work teacher blow on him na you talk Olsen na me to no true me by lose him work teacher na display teacher who said me I give him resignation paper belong him lo ban Selkong primary school I'm display teacher now I'm headmaster lo Ogolbeng primary school lo close to ya na mi lusim na mi apply lo CLTC na oli kisi mi na mi go study 5 player na bien mi make him display walk about me story long and finish
na you talk before you teacher na before lo display you come up teacher also manim na tu arbla ask him you come up mama I carry me lo one place na story liglig lo display you plong you na kan
yeah okay papa lo mi en pasta Na go school lo Nambis long 1950s. Na planti all missionary school em give stia long em na kainosem na grow inside long displa kain walkabout na bien come pastor na come school lo Oglebeng seminary where now me teacher long em. Na displa time me liglig me no napting one plus something ta so let me come pastor na mama carry me past time lo bands lo first work missionary lo papa na mama tupla kam lo Kerawagi. Papa school lo Nambis na kam lo place na lo 1959 tupla married December. Na tupla kam lo Bands. Na me born long Bands lo one place close to lo border lo Jimmy na Wagi. Lo 1965. Me born lo displa na bien papa na mama kam school lo here na go back lo Bands. Na church Salem tupla papa go chaplain lo Kotna Health Center. So me grow up lo mission field. Yeah, me grow up lo mission field na me stop on them all missionary pikinini na displa life belong all missionary pikinini want the papa mama lo mission field as me looks how me grow up inside lo displa. Tas all me no binigat dreaman lo come up missionary. Enough displa sing out mix him lo God inside lo talk blame lo Romans 10:13 go 15 behind lo me pray lo displa boy where me fail lo witness lamb lo Jesus Christ. Na bien me go lo Bible school and me go back lo Singapore too. Na time me go back as me kisim belly see as me can go back lo all man Mary where me no been witness lo and me got this opportunity lo me can witness lo na me feeling awesome and job satisfaction belong me.
Na this pala you grow up on time all beginning long up Kotna na who's that missionary staff lo this
Lauterbach. Me liglig na mi sawelong Lauterbach begin blam Gabriela na Jochen. Na Dr. News one play been stop lo hospital lo Kotna. Yeah.
Na buena Lauterbach.
Yeah, mas displa mi sawelong lo Lauterbach.
Lauterbach. You go school long Bands, huh?
Mi school lo Bands na bien papa ikam lo Kotna. So.
Na behind you kisim training long.
Mixim training long Catholic Teachers College lo Rabaul. And Teachers College blo all girls that's all. I'll call him Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. I'm school blo Catholic. Me been school lo Catholic High School Notre Dame. I mean no long way Oglebeng. Me school lo disla na me apply. Me la come up lawyer. Dreaman blo me lo come up lawyer. So mama talk no. Papa you know work money. You must go arep na come up teacher. So me arem talk blo mama na me apply na come up teacher.
Narbla ask him. What's the name you come up lo here lo Oglebeng Seminary? Now you come up teacher or lecturer.
Yeah. And me come back to Australia lo 2012 now. Me stop the house as me story pini so he got problem on them passport blo me so me stop now. Here lo Oglebeng and time this la time me come back. Na me stop me no stop nothing and me go long CLTC. Me no apply lo CLTC too. Me think lo go back. Na me stop tasol me stop more lo 1 year because lo problem one time passport blo me na bien all teacher blo me lo CLTC all yarimosem me come back na stop. So only ring me na all talk you apply lo working masters. Na me no bell kirap. Me no bell kirap lo go study again because me sawe study lo theology M1M. I'm hard work here. Na tasol bien me to okay. Na me by come school solo 2015. Na 16 and me go inside lo 15 na me study to player. Na me graduate want a masters in theology. Na bien lo display me la go back again lo mission field here. Tasol me no sabe lo like lo go to lo life lo me. Ting blow me and me plan lo go back lo mission field long naraplap again in Thailand. That's one place out ikam lo Oglebeng na deputy principal blo Oglebeng today emi teacher lo here na emi toki mi osem mi gat sort long teacher lo Oglebeng seminary. Also lo la English teacher. Alto kosem so mi kam lo here. Na mi stop osem English teacher here lo Oglebeng seminary. Emi teaching English ta so lo here.
Now, you got like lo teaching theology too or no got?
Osem mi kisim pepa lo theology na mi teacher by profession too na mi got like lo teach. Tas all you got ting long oliet he osem mi Mary. Mi no can teach him theology.
Na tispala I wanpla big pala banis belong long ol Mary mas kalap long na mi lukim that's all you osem wanpla pioneer too. Lo wanem you first Mary I teach long inside lo wanpla seminary long ELC PNG. Good pla tispala hap good pla that's all arbla hap we oli talk aya ol Mary can become a pastor na ol Mary can teach theology not kind something now you think one no display
mi kam le mi teach him English because all all need him English teacher na mi kam na mi teach him English na mi teach him to blara plus subject connect one them theology na mi looking mo mi got plenty something mi ka want them one big black cargo. So me no unpacking this like cargo yet. Me sit down to solo here. So me looking awesome. So was church blue me I'm like move forward. No something me think also me can look savvy. Now give him equal opportunity inside Lord this black and work too. Lord teaching theology.
Mary me looking all Mary ready long all by. Sanap na unpack him cargo plong all here.
Display mi to unpack him cargo. Also mi no ga think lo kama pastor no. Taso mi la kama teacher bla theology yes.
Good plan.
Yeah.
All right. Now you stop how much year lo here?
Display number 4 year.
Okay.
Mi stop lo here. Taso mi no think lo stop here plenty year. So me looking me got some need lo here. Na because me can want them background lo teaching meeting or something me sawa long and me can help him na put him lo here.
That's all na. I think of mission mi stop na all get a help you mi stop long as some Christian. Of mission.
Mi stop.
Good plan. Me thank you straight long this plan. Nice plan talk. Na me thank you straight long. Talk to one time Mary missionary I go long arblahap na I saw him all of mission something long all white skin something long you me all get a man Mary. Thank you true. Okay.
Thank you true. Welcome.